Paul Allen, TCO Studios, off the thriller into round 2 against San Francisco, the 1 seed in the NFC. This is Kevin Stefanski, offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. And yes, Kirk Cousins, we did like that. And with Kirk, from the you like that back in the Washington days, you know this better than anybody. He's so unassuming, some would even say kind of shy, that he doesn't want to put off that that's like who he is. For him to do that in the locker room, you were there, that was a big moment.
Yeah, I think he loves to get a rise out of his teammates too. He's got a great sense of humor. I think he's very real, as his teammates know, and very authentic. So they love to see him kind of show his emotion there, which he does certainly in the locker room, and sometimes the cameras are in there to catch it.
Now, you've been here a decade and a half, so you've seen a lot. Have you come across many who are as team first as Kirk Cousins is? I mean, he hit Thielen on that wonderful play you called, but, you know, when he references that play or whatever, it's always going to be team.
Yeah, and that's the kid he is. That's how he was raised.
Yeah, we get this done today. We do it together as a team, man. Let's go. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team.
He is team-oriented, and I think to that whole drive, think about Stephon Diggs making a big play, Adam Thielen make a big play, Kyle Rudolph make a big play. So at the end of the day, it's about the players. I've said it 1,000 times, and it's true. And Kirk certainly understands that and understands his supporting cast is pretty important.
Kevin, when it comes to being a scholar of the game and really studious and just being learned on everything that potentially is coming at you, how smart is Kirk? How natural is it for him?
He's very naturally intelligent. I also think he's had a lot of reps. So going back to his days in Washington and just as a starter at Michigan State, those reps are invaluable as a starter. And I think there's not much nowadays that he hasn't seen. So I think he has a lot of reps saved in that memory bank, and I think he can use that to his advantage as we move forward.
Now you mentioned Stephon Diggs, and you know, as part of your job while calling the game and figuring out the personnel and trying to win, keeping players mindful that, hey, like Stephon Diggs in the Saints game, I don't think he had a catch for like an hour and a half of real life time. Do you have to remind them, stay ready, because that 9-yard catch he had down by the goal line was massive. Do you have to remind them, stay ready, be mindful, it might come to you?
Yeah, and he does a great job of that. And like any great player, he wants the ball, and I love Stephon Diggs. And he's great on the sideline. You see his emotion. So I know people make a big deal of that sometimes, but man, he's ready to go. We talked about it the night before about sticking together for 60 minutes, and he was right there. And like you said, you never know when that number is going to be called, and he was ready when it was.
Now you frequently, whether it's here on Vikings GamePlan, my radio show, or whatever, you will use the term being multiple. What exactly does being multiple on offense mean?
I think it speaks to we think about how the defense looks at us. So we don't want the defense to look at us and say, we just have to stop this. We want them to see multiple personnel groupings, different formations, different wrinkles, different players in different positions. So hopefully it's not something where they feel like the ball's right there and we're not moving the spot for the quarterback. Hopefully they think that the attack is all-encompassing.
Well, let's bring up multiple players, beginning with Adam Thielen. In being multiple, how does he help?
He can line up anywhere. He's brilliant smart. And the kid, since the day he got here, we've asked him to move around the formation, and he's done it. And then you just see him, he understands defense so well. I'm so impressed some of the things that he's able to do. I mean, there's plays in that game that I can specifically think of. He ran the route a certain way because he knew what the coverage was. And if he had run it a different way, maybe we don't get a guy open. And that happens multiple times in a game with Adam.
Speaking of the word multiple, which is a common thread to start Vikings game plan into this Niners game, multiple ways Dalvin Cook can beat teams.
Yeah, good to have number 33 back there. Anytime he touches the ball, it's a good thing for us. So whether you hand it to him, whether you throw it to him, I think it's our job to find ways to move him around the formation. Throw him free release plays, throw him screens, line him out wide. It's just, he's a special player with the ball in his hands, and we got to find ways to do that.
Is there a secret sneaky way to find matchups to get cornerbacks on Kyle Rudolph? I mean, generally speaking, they're markedly shorter. You did it at Dallas, back right of the end zone. You won the game in New Orleans, back left of the end zone. How do you get that to happen?
Yeah, I think each game you're going into it and looking at how they're going to line up against you. And when you talk about Kyle Rudolph, 6'6" in his body, in his frame. That's just a physical mismatch for a lot of defenders. I don't care if you're a linebacker, a safety, or a defensive back. So we try, especially down there where points are at a premium, you try to find places to put him in a spot to go win versus man coverage and win versus zone coverage, just sheerly about, we always talk about his separation can occur vertically, it doesn't have to occur horizontally.
Kevin, give us a thumbnail sketch of the 49ers defense.
Excellent personnel, impressive scheme. I think they do a great job. I think you see a little bit of a background of the Seattle cover 3. Coach Sala was in Jacksonville with Gus Bradley, but they've branched off. They're certainly playing multiple coverages. They blitz a little bit. They play some man. They play some zone. So they're an impressive group, and as will be said all week, it starts up front, and that's as good a front as you're going to face. They get after the passer. They try to get after the passer. They're coming off the ball, so we'll have our work cut out for us.
With that defensive lineman, DeForest Buckner, he's 6'7". So early in the week of practice, up to this game, do you just remind Kirk, hey, he wants to bat passes at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, as a quarterback, anytime your ball gets batted down, you got to take it personally and think about why did that happen? Where were my eyes? And typically it's your feet are maybe out of rhythm, and then your eyes aren't where they're supposed to be. So he's keenly aware of 6'7". It's hard not to be aware of 6'7". So he'll be understanding that more than anything, it's about rhythm and timing and getting the ball out.